welcome to State of Events. I'm Lindsay Regis.
And I'm Haley Vetterline.
Today on State of Events, we have the latest information on the Panama Papers scandal. The Prime Minister of Iceland resigned today. Sigmundur Gunnlaugsson is the first prominent leader to step down since the leaking of the Panama Papers. The former Prime Minister insisted on staying in office after the 11 million documents were released to the public. The documents suggest Mr. Gunnlaugsson sold a company he bought back in 2007 and sold it to his wife for $1. This occurred right before a new law went into effect, which would have required him to declare his ownership of the company as a conflict of interest. The former Prime Minister says he didn't hide their assets or avoid paying taxes. For more on the documents that led to the Prime Minister's resignation, we turn to our world news anchor, Michael Overby, for this startling discovery.
Thanks, ladies. Well, folks, it's another week, another story of potential global corruption. Following last week's Unaoil corruption scandal, it seems the country of Panama has stolen the spotlight. They're being called the Panama Papers. Despite the name, the papers are actually 2.6 terabytes worth of information on offshore account holdings held in, you guessed it, Panama. This is considered the largest secret data leak in history. Over 11.5 million documents were released by an insider from Mossack Fonseca. Mossack Fonseca is a Panama-based law firm that specializes in the creation of offshore accounts through fake businesses. You heard that right, a business that specializes in creating fake businesses. This practice is designed to hide wealth in tiny island tax havens. The nearly 12 million documents have been evaluated by journalists in over 100 organizations from 78 countries. Numerous high-profile figures were mentioned in the documents, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, Argentinian President Mauricio Macri, and as mentioned before, Iceland's Prime Minister. These three are just some of many other notable figures being mentioned throughout the papers as having ties to these fake businesses. Now, it's entirely legal to use offshore structures. There are many legitimate reasons for doing so. Business people in countries such as Russia and Ukraine typically put their assets offshore to defend against raids by criminals. However, this practice can be easily abused. It is believed by many of these journalists that big names in business, politics, and sports, most notably FIFA, use these fake companies through Mossack Fonseca to evade trillions of dollars in taxation. Despite the hundreds of individuals working through the data dump, there is still much to be discovered. Stay tuned to find out more on the ongoing investigation. On the other side of the world, Greece has begun its official deportation of migrants back to the country of Turkey. Loaded onto boats and shipped off for an uncertain future, these are migrants being deported on the controversial one-in, one-out measure between the European Union and Turkey. Under this new deal, anyone who crosses into Greece illegally will be shipped back to Turkey. For every Syrian sent back to Turkey, an embedded Syrian refugee will be resettled somewhere in Europe. Turkey will receive billions to support the migrants. Officials hope this will reduce the overwhelming numbers arriving in an unprepared Greece. Opponents of the bill believe that sending these refugees back to their war-torn countries is not the answer. For more on the largest refugee crisis since World War II, stay tuned to State of Events. Back to you guys.
Now let's talk about a story that is trending around San Francisco State. You have probably seen the video by now of a confrontation between two students over one of their hairstyles. This video has opened up a discussion about cultural appropriation around campus and the country. Jerry Burgos has the story.
Confronted over his choice of hair, Corey Goldstein, an SFSU student, recalls the moment everyone is talking about.
What happened was I was walking the quad right here. She was handing out a flyer for a poetry event or something. I'm not exactly sure what, but I was interested in what she was handing out, and she was about to give it to me and said, "Sorry, we don't want people with your hair here."
She is Bonita Tyndall, an SFSU student and member of the Associated Students Incorporated. Tyndall is a cinematographer with various films on YouTube, like this one, named The Things We Carried, which focuses on the struggles of growing up black. When we asked Goldstein what he would tell Bonita Tyndall, his response was remarkable.
That me and her should have discussed and could have discussed in a positive way. Obviously, the situation was handled negatively, but the amount of hate that she's been receiving is not okay. That's something that she's been dealing with so much because of this issue, and that's not how it should be. We should be dealing with this with love and respect, not disrespect and hate.
Corey Goldstein has been very clear with State of Events, telling us he just simply wants all of this to go away. It is affecting his daily life, and he thinks it is deeply affecting Bonita Tyndall's daily life as well. We spoke to campus police, and they told us that there has been charges filed against Tyndall by Austin Key. The person that filmed the event has filed charges against Bonita Tyndall for harassing him and his camera lens. In San Francisco, Jerry Burgos, State of Events.
The video of Corey Goldstein and Bonita Tyndall sparked controversy and opened a huge dialogue about racism and cultural appropriation. State of Events correspondent Michelle Gong is here to give her take on the situation.
Let me ask you something. How often do African American women straighten their hair? How often do Asian women curl theirs? How many women of any race do both? Are they guilty of appropriating another ethnic culture for doing so? Not necessarily. Now, in a video that went viral last night, SFSU student Bonita Tyndall tells Corey Goldstein that he can't wear dreads because it's insensitive and appropriating African American culture. Now, I understand her point of view because the history of cultural appropriation is there. However, it is ignorant to just assume that Corey decided to put his hair into dreads with ill intent. What if the hairstyle just fits in with his lifestyle? Dreads are well known to be convenient because they're easily maintained. People of two different races can have the same type of hair. No race has sole ownership of a certain texture of hair like there's a copyright on it. It is a civil liberty to be able to don whatever hairstyle he pleases for whatever reason. It's quite possible that he didn't know or understand the significance of the hairstyle to the African American culture. However, unthoughtful and physically provoking confrontations about cultural appropriation are extremely counterproductive to the real issues of race and racism. It is rude, disrespectful, and racist in itself to initially assume that a white boy was purposely trying to appropriate a minority culture. That's like reverse bigotry. And that's not how you fight individual, social, economic, political, and institutional racism, because that's BS.
And California's minimum wage deal has formally gone into effect. Governor Brown signed the bill on Monday in Los Angeles. The plan will raise minimum wage to $15 by 2022. This marks the highest statewide wage in the U.S. Critics say it will decrease the number of jobs and hurt small businesses. But Governor Brown says the decision to set the nation-leading wage was about economic justice. The first increase will begin next year at $10.50. Each year will go up until it reaches $15 in 2022. San Francisco may become the first U.S. city to offer fully paid leave for new parents. State laws says mom and dads get 55% of their salary for up to 6 weeks of family leave. Today, supervisors vote on a measure that would require employers to pay the other 45%. Supporters say this will help lower incomes and stay and care for the newborn baby. Small business groups oppose this idea because it would be too expensive for the employers. This would apply to businesses with 20 or more workers.
There was a protest in San Francisco last week over the right to breastfeed in public, sparked by what one mother says was a heated confrontation at the city's Human Services building. I personally went down to the building today to find out more information. I am standing outside the Human Services building where a group of women gathered to show support for a mother who says one of the building's security guards told her to cover up or leave. Now this happened as she was breastfeeding her baby inside the building's waiting room. There was a peaceful rally that featured mothers and babies and breastfeeding. The woman in question said she had felt harassed by the guard and said it all began when she was quietly nursing her child in a waiting room at the Human Services building on Otis Street in San Francisco.
I was quietly nursing my baby and all of a sudden I hear somebody yelling at me, "You have to cover up if you're going to be in there." And I was shocked. So I turned around and I saw this guard, and he was maybe 10 feet away from me, and he's a big guy, he's maybe 6'5". And I said, "That's not what the law says." And he threw his hand out, and he threw his arm out, and he waved his hand back and forth, and he said, "I'm not trying to argue with you," and he walked away. And I was very upset, and what he insinuated is that I was breaking the rules.
And that was not the end of it. She says the guard later returned, and the conversation became a lot more heated and disrespectful. Bottom line, the mother says that she and her friends want to remind people that it is a mother's right to be able to breastfeed in public. During the protest, the agency's deputy director came outside to speak with the women. He wanted to apologize for what happened and told the mother that it was her right to nurse her child inside the Human Services building. In San Francisco, I'm Haley Vetterline, State of Events. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you who gets free showers and laundry service in San Jose and find out which airline is no longer a virgin.
Before City Car Share, we were spending a lot of money on gas and insurance. I felt like I had to check my bank account every time I went driving.
City Car Share is great because the membership includes insurance and a gas card. I don't even know why we owned a car in the Bay Area.
Now we just have more money to spend on other things.
City Car Share is an important part of our lives.
City Car Share gives you the benefits of using a car
without the hassles of owning one.
Even common daily routines can make important changes. Changes like higher wages, better living, and justice. Sometimes it's just a matter of making the right choice. Fair Trade certified coffees are bought directly from family farmers, guaranteeing them better incomes and strengthening their communities. Fair Trade certified. Taste fairness. Look for the label wherever you buy coffee.
Welcome back to State of Events. It's Tuesday again, and this means that another U.S. state is voting in the presidential primaries. State of Events reporter Kasia Pirog will tell us why today's votes are very special.
Thank you, Haley. The presidential nomination race is definitely accelerating. Here is what we know about today's election evening in Wisconsin. Ted Cruz has a lot to win or plenty to lose tonight if he does not beat Trump in this fight for delegates. Here are the latest delegate results for the Republican Party. We can see that Donald Trump is leading with 737 votes. Cruz is losing to Trump by over 250 votes, and John Kasich is far behind in this race. John Kasich has only won so far one state, and a win in Wisconsin tonight would not give him any significant advantage in this race. For Ted Cruz, on the other hand, it's a must to win tonight in order to get closer to Trump before delegates from the East Coast vote on April 19th. According to recent polls, Cruz has a big chance to win in Wisconsin due to Trump being under scrutiny over abortion controversies and criminal charges pressed against his campaign manager. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders is expected to be today's primaries winner, even though Clinton will most likely leave Wisconsin with a clear delegate lead. Sanders has been successfully persistent by recently winning 6 out of 7 states. This is it for today's election update. I invite you to tune in later today to watch the Wisconsin primaries unfold live.
If you plan to ride Caltrain, you'll need to take a second look at the schedule. All trains will have changes in departure times. An additional Bombardier car will be added to the trains. This increases the bike capacity from 48 to 72 bikes. The changes are being made because of the increasing number of rides during peak commute times. Over 60,000 commuters take Caltrain during the weekday. Caltrain operates above 100% of capacity during peak hours. Adjustments will be made to the departure times by a few minutes. Alaska Airlines has confirmed it's buying Virgin America. Alaska Air will pay $57 a share, making it a transaction of about $2 billion. It will expand Alaska's presence in California, particularly in LA and San Francisco. The expansion plans to include 1,200 daily departures. The merged business will be based in Seattle. Both companies' boards approved the contract, but are waiting on Virgin America shareholders to approve the transaction. The deal is expected to close by January of next year.
Wildfire season may be arriving sooner than usual. The official declaration is still a few weeks away, but CAL FIRE has already fought 325 fires statewide since the beginning of the year. With the rain-fed grasses and brush already drying out and the first heat wave coming, CAL FIRE says we are likely to see more fires. The El Nino rains may have helped with the drought, but CAL FIRE is saying there is still a lot of long, dead grass that built up over the past several years. And with warm temperatures and strong winds coming, it could fuel more fires in the coming days. A warning for the South Bay. A man was robbed of thousands of dollars after test driving a car he found through Craigslist. It happened on Saratoga Avenue last Thursday. Police say the victim made plans to meet with the person selling the car to test drive it. When the man said he would buy the car, he gave the suspect $8,000 in cash. But when he looked at the title, it had a woman's name on it and didn't belong to the person selling it. The man tried to sell the car, then ran away with the money. Police haven't been able to find him. This is a good reminder to always be careful about what you buy through Craigslist.
San Jose will start offering free showers and laundry services to the homeless. The City Council has approved a mobile hygiene program to those living on the streets. We Hope is the name of the project that started the Dignity on Wheels trailer. The trailer will travel to different locations in San Jose and offer 15-minute showers and use of a washing machine. The city is also looking to buy 2 properties worth $1.1 million on Gallup Drive. They plan to turn the vacant area into an affordable housing development. It could provide up to 40 new homes units for the homeless.
The governor of Mississippi, Phil Bryant, signed a religious freedom bill into law today. Many states have tried to introduce similar religious freedom laws since the U.S. Supreme Court made gay marriage legal last year. The legislation says the Mississippi state government won't punish those who refuse to provide services to transgender people or same-sex couples. Governor Bryant says the law doesn't limit any constitutional protected rights or actions. However, many LGBT activists beg to differ. The executive director of the American Civil Liberties Union of Mississippi protests. It's a sad day for Mississippians because they can now be turned away from necessary services based on who they are. Last week, the Petaluma Police Department was notified by the Department of Corrections that 23-year-old Jonathan Hopner, a high-risk sex offender, was being released and he was going to be living in Petaluma. After public outcry, the motel that Hopner was supposed to stay in denied him access, and at that point, Hopner had no other place to live. Last night, we learned from the Rohnert Park Police Department that Hopner is now living in Rohnert Park, also at a motel. The Rohnert Park Police Department had no say in the matter, but they are tracking him by an ankle monitor. Hopner has been convicted on several accounts of sexual battery and child molestation. Several of those cases took place on the campus of the Santa Rosa Junior College, where he was arrested twice. And because of that, the school issued a stay away for Hopner and also released information to the students that if they saw Hopner on campus, they should report it.
Coming up after the break, we'll hear how the visually impaired can enjoy the new Facebook feature. Also, we'll find out which social media NFL signed a deal with to broadcast their games. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
On sale at bookstores and newsstands near you.
Experience Theater Bay Area Magazine.
At first I was a bit hesitant to try it.
To tell you the truth, I didn't think I'd fit in. But I kept pushing her and she ended up loving it.
I was surprised. It was an amazing experience.
And now we do it at least twice a month.
I've even gotten most of my friends to do it.
If you do it enough, you can get a great deal on the price.
Why didn't we think of this before?
It's a stimulating experience.
The Z-Space Studio.
Word for word.
Z-Space Studio, word for word, stimulation guaranteed. See you at the theater.
Welcome back to State of Events. Facebook has come out with a new feature for the iPhone app. This new update has created a program to describe photos to the visually impaired. The app will interpret a description of what each photo is. The new feature will also recognize faces and objects for the blind. For this to work, the iPhone's built-in screen reader and voice-over must be turned on. So far, the app is only available in English. Facebook hopes to refine the technology to become more precise and available in more languages. A lot has been seen happening with the tech titans this week. For more, let's go to State of Events correspondent Michelle Gong for our tech rundown.
Thanks, Lindsay. Twitter and the NFL have signed a deal to broadcast 10 Thursday night regular season games over the internet for free. Twitter has seen its core business of being an instant messaging platform slow down in recent years, and the deal will allow Twitter to attract new young users from the sports world. The NFL sees that more fans are relying primarily on the internet rather than traditional cable and satellite to watch video. The deal lets the NFL maximize its revenue by selling streaming rights to its games separately. Twitter says that the games will be available to stream through any device that uses its app. Airbnb is working to crack down on hosts who violate San Francisco's short-term rental laws. The company is pledging to investigate those who list multiple SF homes on Airbnb and turn private homes into illegal hotels. This self-policing effort follows a plea from city officials to help catch violators. Airbnb says that about 1/5 of its listings are controlled by hosts who list more than one home. Critics have accused the tech giant of worsening the housing shortage by giving property owners an incentive to rent out to visitors rather than local residents. San Francisco's Municipal Transportation Agency has denied Bowers Intelligent Transportation a new permit that would allow them to continue using Muni bus stops. The private shuttle bus company helps many clients from San Francisco and the Silicon Valley get to work. The move comes in response to a labor dispute between Bowers and the Teamsters Union. SFMTA spokesman Paul Rose says that they have received complaints of the shuttles using Muni zones and official shuttle stops without a permit. CEO Gary Bauer plans to appeal the decision and that clients are not facing a disruption.
There's so much talk swirling around the Warriors right now. They just lost their first game at home. Could they lose back-to-back games? And should they rest players instead of go for 73 wins? Well, on Sunday, they took a page out of the old Al Davis playbook. Just win, baby. The MVP taking on Oakland's own Damian Lillard. In the first quarter, Damian Lillard got off. He hit a crafty and one on a blow-by on Draymond Green right here, but Curry on the other end. Whatever you can do, I can do better. I mean, this game was an absolute shootout between these two. Curry nails a three. Lillard comes back with a sweet shot right here. They were going at it all day. Curry with a little crossover, step back right in your face, and Lillard on the other end with almost the same exact move. He'd go for 38 points, but only one problem. Curry would go for 39. He would hit 2 threes late in the game, and the Warriors would end up pulling away as they march towards 73 wins. They'd win 136-111, and they now hold a 69-8 record. It's an even year, and you know what that means. Yesterday was opening day for the San Francisco Giants, as they would begin to embark on another journey that for Giants fans hopefully would end for a 4th ring in the last 7 years. Ace Madison Bumgarner would be on the bump for opening day, but this game was not about him. In the 8th inning, 2 on for newly signed Denard Spin, and he rocks one to right field. That ball's getting out of here. Giants will take a 10-3 lead. Next batter, Joe Panic. We're going back to back. That gives the Giants an 11-3 lead. And next batter, Buster Posey tries to join in on the fun. He smokes one to center. That thing is back and gone. That is back-to-back-to-back home runs for the Giants. They end up winning 12-3, and they start off opening day on a great note. Be sure to check back in next week because you know we got you covered on all things sports, and we'll also have your weekly update on the Warriors' chase of 73 wins.
Major League Soccer is celebrating its 20th anniversary this season. On April of 1996, Spartan Stadium hosted the first ever MLS match between the San Jose Clash, now known as the Earthquakes, and DC United. We sent Victor Anguiano down to Avaya Stadium as the Earthquakes faced DC United once again. On Major League Soccer Day, historic day.
This is perhaps the biggest day in the history of U.S. soccer.
Starting tonight, the MLS is going to prove just how dramatic a difference it's going to be.
And they weren't wrong. Today, MLS has 22 professional soccer teams. Unlike in 1996, when the league was only made up of 10 teams. For Earthquakes Hall of Famer Eric Wynalda, he's proud to be part of San Jose's history.
This club has become, we were the first part of it, but we're so proud to be here. Going from where we were to where we are now, it's probably one of the coolest things you'll ever experience.
Fast forward to 2016, the Quakes continue to build upon the philosophy the club was founded on.
I hope that it just continues to grow. I think you've seen where it's gone in 20 years, and I think it's going to continue to grow exponentially, and it's going to be crucial.
But remembering and honoring the inaugural match versus DC United 20 years ago is important to understanding the club's history and success. That's why
for the first 10,000 fans to walk through the doors of Avaya Stadium, they received a replica of the Clash of 1996 team. The Earthquake said, you know what, this is not enough. We got to give you guys something more. So they took the whole stadium and gave it a 90s vibe. And let's just say the fans, well, they're very excited.
Quakes, hey, Quakes, hey, Quakes, hey, Quakes, hey, Quakes.
The energy and atmosphere Avaya Stadium creates when the Quakes take center stage continues to bring new fans.
We were just talking about coming back another time up in the stadium.
And just as the 1996 match versus DC United ended on a thriller,
Shot, gets it, far post, goal! Goal for Eric Winalda! San Jose has scored an amazing goal with the right foot into the side net.
the Quakes made sure April 2nd of 2016 would also be a night to remember, as Adam Jean finds the back of the net in minute 87 to keep the current Quakes undefeated at home. This is Victor Anguiano reporting from San Jose, State of Events.
Speaking of sports, are you heading out to the SF Giants Stadium this year?
Yeah, their home opener is this Thursday, I believe.
That's
So I'm
great.
definitely going to go to that. It'll be fun. That's it for our show. Thank you for watching State of Events. See you next week.